Welcome to another episode of Time Out, the No Flop Zone, and we certainly won't be flopping today. I'm Boti Nagy, your host. My co-host is Joey Wright. We're going to start with the good news, and that was James Bateman, the man that many sort of thought should be sacked by the Brisbane Bullets weeks ago, goes and gets 51 points, the most since the return to the 40-minute format.
Well, that doesn't mean he shouldn't have been sacked just because he dropped 51. Everybody was responding to his performances out on the court, and they wasn't that great. And he comes out and dropped 51, and everybody's like, oh, yeah, that'll make up for them other games. Spread that 51 out over all them games and see what happens.
Did you see the game, or did you see his post-game interview?
No, I did see the game. I did see the game. I saw the game. In his post-game interview, he didn't show the bravado that I would have if I dropped 51. I know that. What
is your highest score?
My highest is 53.
Okay, 53. All right. Snap with Cal Bruton.
Yes.
Who's scored 53 with the Brisbane Bullets in 1979, which it bothers me. I don't know why the NBL continues to resist or ignore its own history to try and make everything since we went back to 40 minutes, which was in 2009-10. Yeah. And prior to that, it was 48 from 84 to then, but from 79 to 84, those years, no three-point line as well. Guys were getting scores. Cal got 53. Why do we try to pretend that there's a modern era? What was there, a prehistoric era?
Yeah, I don't know what's modern era. Someone's got to explain that term to me, because we can't just erase history. Casey should know better. He was trying to give Chris Goulding's illustrious career start at Melbourne. Yep. Just ignored the fact that he played with me at Brisbane. Yep. And Casey should know that. But I just think right now they're just so hooked on what's happening right now, which is great. It's a great feel out there. It's a great game. But your history. You gotta love your history.
Well, we've got some footage that we'll be playing of some of these guys. I mean, some of this is old footage, and you can tell. But, you know, Reg Biddings, he went for 63 in 1981. Sir Reginald, yeah. No three-point line, okay? As we said, Cal Bruton set the first record, which was the 53, and then Ken Richardson from the West Adelaide Bearcats, who was the MVP, the first MVP of the league, he goes for 56. So, you know, are we just going to pretend that didn't happen?
And even with that being said, with Al scoring 71, 60, and 55 in the three games in a row, that should be mentioned. I don't care if that was in 52 minutes. Yeah. All right, that should be mentioned, and then let's put everything in perspective. The guy averaged 60 over 3 games. Yeah. Like, that's huge. Yeah. Like, let's talk about that.
I think he averaged 40 for that season. He was having his Wilt Chamberlain year. But yeah, like Al's 71, which was in a 48-minute game, which is why it doesn't get mentioned. But, I mean, that is the most anybody scored. But this resistance to acknowledge what's gone before, it'd be like saying, Kobe Bryant's 81, that's the best of the modern era. NBA would never say that. They would say, hey, we've got Wilt Chamberlain scored 100.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah. I don't know if it's reluctance or ignorance or apathy. All right, so maybe they're not doing the homework, maybe they're not out there looking, or maybe they just don't care.
So it's RIA, reluctance, ignorance, apathy, because I think it's all three.
It might be all three.
Or it might just be recency bias, or just, I don't know.
But speaking about the greats, I don't think take anything from the current players at all. I think it actually it exposes their talent nowadays.
Exactly.
And comparing it to the old talent.
I agree, but James Bateman, what he had to say afterwards was just fantastic. If you haven't seen him, try and track it down somewhere. It was really good.
Evans, of course, representing Perth from Western Australia tonight. The scoring's sure to be high here. Biddings, and the foul from behind against Evans. He scored, but it won't count. It will count.
Are reluctant to shoot. Richardson.
Good start. Hit it straight off. So what great form all of these players from West Adelaide are in.
Yes, McLeod tried to make the forced error, but good control by the ball handler. Here's a fast break by Green. Slam dunk. Morrow. Harmison. Good knock away by Evans. Green. Dunk. What an enormous couple of steps from Al Green. He took off from the foul line and was looking for that slam dunk.
Yeah, sorry for the quality of some of that footage, but at least we've got it, and we've seen all the people that we've mentioned, so you can form some sort of opinion about what they were doing. I'm forming an opinion about Melbourne United that I'll be interested in your take, because with the incident that occurred with the spectators, not talking about anything else, not talking about the NBL scrutinising it or Basketball Australia's integrity unit looking at Montrezl Harrell and Shea, the spectator incident, which we've got captured here by the wonderful footballer Brendan Favola, will show you from behind, and then I just can't work out why Melbourne United hasn't already come out and banned those people, those 4 people. Let's have a look. Okay, you can see who the instigators were.
Well, I'll go back and say it again, and Larry, you can't find me this time. Who you going to complain to? Melbourne about Melbourne? Who you complaining to? Complain all you want. They're going to do what they want. He's going to continue to do what he wants, whether it's right or wrong. That's the kind of league we're dealing with, and I don't think anything will happen to anybody of Melbourne United staff, which I thought on the night, if they held an Adelaide accountable to one of their coaches going on the floor and getting technical, then I think Melbourne should be held accountable, and some of their coaches should have got technical and points should have been put on the board. Adelaide was making a run. They were only a few points behind. They got real close. If they had 2 or 3 extra points from those technicals, it's a different ballgame.
Yeah. Yeah, well, especially in the light of Nick Popovich of a few weeks ago, where, so they were penalised then. It's interesting, but I'm just talking about Melbourne United as a club. I think should have just turned around and said, all right, within 24 hours, we're banning those 4 people.
Do we know who those 4 people were?
If they're in corporate seats or in special celebrity seats, I'm sure they know their identities. And there's footage of one of them. I mean, you don't see him very well because he's got his hoodie on.
Smart.
What about the Adelaide players? What do you think will happen there?
Well, shouldn't anything happen there? They're all dealing with retaliation from the sideline and retaliation on the court. Then nothing should happen to them. And if anything does happen to the Adelaide players and not to any of the Melbourne players, that's complete bullshit. Yeah. Bullshit.
But for sure, we'll be seeing that footage the next time Adelaide plays Melbourne. That'll be part of the promotional video.
They'll find somebody.
Yeah, it'll point to the hypocrisy of the whole thing.
Exactly.
All right, let's switch to Tasmania. Are they back?
They're back. They're back. They're playing some good basketball. I don't think they're as good as they were last year.
No, Jack McVeigh's out. They're never going to be as good.
Yeah, they're not as good as they were last year, but they're actually playing some better basketball and look like they care. It was just a run through their 3 or 4 games. They just looked like they were beat down. They didn't look any enthusiasm. They had no special wrinkles. They were not doing anything encouraging on the court to try to change the game. It looked like both sides, the coach and the players, are giving up.
That hangover from the championship almost.
Yeah.
But how much stock do you put in? Because I personally put a lot in the fact that Sean McDonald was back.
Yes, I do like Sean McDonald. He's one of my favorite guards in the whole entire league. So he's going to be good for him. He's going to be tough. He'll add. I mean, I think they're missing him as much as they're missing Jack as well.
Yes.
Because he got them through about 4 or 5 games last year when the imports wasn't producing, and Sean got them through and did some great stuff. So I think they're missing a little bit of both of them. So they'll be better.
Yeah, I think they're going to be back in the hunt for a playoff spot, but they're not going to win a championship. I think that's
probably a stretch.
Yeah.
Probably a stretch.
All right, we'll be right back because I've got to go powder my nose.
One of the greatest features here at HQ is our chill out room. Go up, relax, play some PS4, watch some TV, and guess what? You can also get a tattoo right here at HQ.
Okay, we're going to have a quick look at the NBL teams because there's no games this week because of the FIBA window. So let's just run through them alphabetically. Adelaide, where do you think they're going?
Look, I think Adelaide probably has the best talent in the league when we talk about guard perimeter offense and interior offense. They're going to have to pick up their defense, and right now it shows on the road. Like they're not motivated to play defense and want to play defense. They'll do that at home with the crowd behind them, but they haven't done that on the road yet. And they're going to have to do that on the road. This one incident could bring them together, though. When you have an incident like this throughout the year where you got the staff, you got players, you got coaches all being attacked, it just puts you in a circle together, and you usually roll after that. So I look for them to even take it to another level.
What about Jarrell Martin? Is it time he started to show a bit more now?
I think Jarrell Martin is suffering from a little of Montrez. When you have such a big personality there and such a big personality and talent. I've been in that situation before. And you got someone that's right there in your same position, showing a lot of personality, got this amazing talent. It almost makes you sit back and watch a little bit.
People say that about this show.
Well, good. But yeah, I think he's just watching a little bit too much, and he's got to get out there and think about, they need me. They need me to be productive. They need me to do well. And Ian Humphries is doing a little bit of the same, I think.
Okay, let's move to Brisbane. Where do you see them? Because I've seen them as a lower-ranked team all year.
And I still do. I still see them as a lower-ranked team. They got a lot of guys that are playing minutes that haven't played minutes in this league before. It's kind of this crazy ratio. If you get 4 or 5 guys that hadn't played major minutes in this league, no matter how good they are, that team's going to suffer a little bit. You need to, like, if you bring in a team back and you got, a nucleus there, and it's only maybe 1 or 2 guys that hadn't played major minutes, and they kind of inject and come in, you're okay. But they got a lot of guys playing major minutes that haven't done it before. I see them up and down all year. They'll have some great games, and they'll have some really poor games.
Which brings us to Cairns, Taipans, who I think at full strength contend. But are we ever going to see them at full strength? There's always somebody missing.
I know. They've been, this is what happens when you have injury, okay? It's a domino effect. So say you have an injury on a player, all of a sudden another player gets more load at training, all right? And then that load carries into the game where he gets more load in playing. And then he gets injured because he's carrying another, 30, 40 minutes a game that, that he shouldn't be on the court, another hour, 2 hours of practice that he shouldn't be out there. And so it's just a domino effect. Then now we still got 2 guys out. Now it's even more load on the next guy. So when you see a team suffer from injuries early, it usually carries on for that reason.
Right, so
Cairns, I think they'll be up and down. I think they'll be up and down all year. The way they play, if they get hot, they're going to be tough to beat.
Yeah,
and
their best is fun. There's no
their best will beat anybody in the league.
Yeah,
about 10 or 15. Their best.
And speaking of that, I think that carries to Illawarrah, but on a more consistent basis.
Well, Illawarrah is more consistent in their shot selection and more consistent in their defensive effort.
Oh, yeah.
So they're going to pick up the 2 or 3 extra games that maybe a Cairns or a Brisbane won't because of their effort levels on defense, their cohesion on offense, and they just, Tatum does a great job of coaching them.
Yep. Okay, so they're definitely there at the business end. Of course, so will Melbourne United.
So. Yeah.
At the start of the season, people were talking about Melbourne United, that the Rob Lowe, Marcus Lee centre sort of 2-headed monster thing in the centre wasn't going to be good enough. I think they're travelling pretty well.
I think they're doing great. Lowe is going to get a lot of open shots with the other guys on the court.
Yep.
And so I think that he'll get a lot of open shots. And Marcus Lee is going to come in and be Marcus Lee. He's going to come in and block shots. He's going to finish strong around the rim and do a great job. But their glue is on that perimeter, what they're going to do with that perimeter. And they got some of the best guards in the league. And Perro Cameron's son, Flynn, oh my God.
Jeez. How he didn't get player of the game, that's a nonsense.
I don't know how he didn't get player of the game, and not a lot of mention either about how he was rolling. He's definitely a problem in this league, and he keeps doing what he's doing. He's going to play himself out of this league and take a sniff at the big time.
New Zealand Breakers now with the big call this week of letting Freddie Gillespie go. Just when I thought he was starting to really fill that role that they needed, blocking shots defensively, makes a nice mid-range shot. They let him go for Taco Fall, who, in my view, I don't know much about him, but at 7'6", if you're not playing NBA, Europe, China, somewhere where there's big bucks, maybe you're not that great.
Well, yeah, and I think he might struggle in this league a little bit just with the tempo of getting up and down. 2 7-footers have never really dominated this league. They've been efficient, but if he can keep up with the pace, I think he might help them. But him and PJC, PJC's playing at such a pace. I don't know if it'll work for Taco Fall, but they're competitive. They've done way better with that roster than I would expect it. And we talk about having guys out on the court in this league that haven't played major minutes. They got 5 or 6 guys in this league playing that hadn't played major minutes, and they're doing a great job.
Yeah, I like the way they were travelling, actually. So this is a risky gamble, really. Oh.
Well, they know more. I mean, they're
Yeah.
at practice every day.
Yeah.
They're dealing with.
Oh, you're going to fall back on that old chestnut, are you?
They're dealing with those issues. I mean, the guys, the only guys ever been suspended before the season started. Right?
Yeah,
it's
in
probably
history.
something else there.
Yeah.
Just if it's some smoke, it's probably something else there.
I can't see him without thinking Jar Jar Binks. But anyway, let's move on to Perth.
Perth, man, they look different every time I see them play.
Yeah.
With Perth, I don't know what I'm going to get. I know I'm not getting great perimeter defense, and I think that's where they struggled at last year, and they're going to continue to struggle this year with their perimeter defense. And their interior defense is pretty good. I mean, I think Doolittle does a great job down there, and Pender does a great job. But you don't know what team you're going to get from one game to the next.
Talking about perimeter defense, in 2 games they've given up 97 points to one player. Like Chris Goulding's 46, followed up by James Bateman, 51. Perimeter defense, there is none.
Yeah, well, Bateman still got open shots after draining 4 or 5 threes in a row.
Yeah.
All of a sudden he's open on the wing. That makes no sense.
No. So do you see them making the playoffs? Make the 6?
I see them making a 6. I do see them making a 6. I think when that all comes together, I don't think they're playing their best basketball and they're still competitive, but I do think they make the 6.
Okay, I'm dubious on that one. Southeast Melbourne?
Southeast Melbourne, I think, are going to self-correct pretty soon.
Right.
I think they'll go back into, dropping a few, and they played off a lot of energy, which typically happens after coach leaves, about 5 games. After a coach leaves, everyone plays and gets the distraction off themselves. It wasn't me, it was him. It wasn't us, it was the coach. And then after the reality sets in, it kind of dials back a little bit. But they'll on nights when they're playing really well, because they're going to play D.
Yeah.
What I love about Josh Giddey is he's going to make them play D, and he doesn't care who it is. He's going to make them play D. So I think he's doing a great job. I don't think they make the 6, though.
Okay. Sydney Kings. And before you say anything, I can't follow this at all. I can't see how Kelly LePepe can be a starter for several weeks, and Sean Bruce can hit a bunch of threes in a game and not see action again. It's just all over the place. I just can't follow the rotations at all.
Well, I think he's still searching. And when you're still searching, you're going to see different formats. We're looking to see if these 5 can play with each other. They not. We'll look to see if these 5 can play with each other. Nah, they haven't. And he's still searching. I think a lot of it has to do with a couple bad attitudes on the team. I don't think Adams is for the Kings anymore. I don't think he's for this league. I think his head is in a different space. He's not really. And Cam.
That's a good way of putting it. His head is in a different space.
And Cam, I just don't think Cam's there as well. So
Yeah.
I think between 2 of your major players, I don't think their attitudes are where they should be for you to be efficient on the court.
Do they still make the playoffs on the depth of talent?
I think they'll make it on the depth of talent, on the depth of coaching, on the depth of being Sydney, and the depth of the league needing Sydney in the finals.
Why is that? Why do we need Sydney?
Hey, I've heard for years, and I don't know the
me
reason.
too.
We need Sydney to be in the finals for it to be, I don't know.
Interesting. For it to be interesting for Sydney people.
Yeah.
Okay, and last but certainly not least, Tasmania.
Tasmania, like we said, they're rolling. They're going to be up and down a little bit. I don't think they're as good as they were the year before. Just with Jack out, and Jack's attitude is infectious.
Yes.
He's bringing all that energy and positive enthusiasm and so forth, and I just don't think they have it. Milton Doyle's not that guy. He's not that type of leader. He's a lead by example type guy. He's not very, very boisterous. So I think they just need a voice there.
Okay.
I think they maybe miss out.
Really?
Yeah.
I think they sneak in, but that's because
I'll
I
take
just think.
Perth over there.
Yeah? Okay, and the very last team, of course, is team referees. How do you think they're going?
Team
Referees, the officials.
Team referees, it's obviously a mess. It's been a mess. It's going to continue to be a mess until they get the right premise, until they step on that court for the right reasons. I don't think they're good enough to control the entertainment side of sport, and they need to just stick to the basketball side of it. If it's a 20-point blowout, it's a 20-point blowout. Don't start whistling to make it competitive. And not saying that they are, I just see some anomalies out there that just doesn't make sense to me.
Anomalies is a good word, and the anomaly here will be that we're going to disappear for a little while.
Paddy Mills Beyond Basketball is a tribute to Australia's greatest current Indigenous sportsman, an inspirational Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander whose uniform hangs at St Mary's College in California. A man instrumental in the San Antonio Spurs winning an NBA championship, and the basketballer who gave Australia its greatest individual performance in an Olympic medal round, when he steered the Boomers to bronze in Tokyo. Yet it could have been so different. Had it not been for AFL and Collingwood superstar Scott Pendlebury rejecting a basketball scholarship to the Australian Institute of Sport, the Paddy Mills story would have been very different. This is his inspirational story and journey intertwined with the history of the Boomers. Prepare to be amazed and moved. Paddy Mills Beyond Basketball.
Anomalies is a good word. Do you think there's any pressure on the officials from above? Because a lot of them are now on the NBL payroll.
Yeah.
Like, is there some pressure coming from ownerships?
Well, whether it is or isn't, the look of it stinks. When you have an owner who owns the league, who owns the team, who pays the referees, and he owns a team in the league, it stinks. All right, that model should not be in place anywhere in the world. Just from the standpoint of what could happen.
Yes.
And so I think the referees understand who's paying their paycheck, and I think they respond to that.
See, it's interesting because just setting Melbourne aside for a second. Last week in Perth, we saw Bryce Cotton go off for 33 points out of 40-point second quarter Perth. And if they weren't being wind assisted by the referees, I'm not here. Bryce takes more free throws than the entire South East Melbourne Phoenix team in that game. Mm-hmm. They go up to Brisbane. Now we're at Boondall. We've got a different crowd. Mm-hmm. And Bryce can get decapitated. He's not getting to the foul line or anything. And he's unhappy about it because he's used to a certain sort of behaviour from the officials. So,
look, the officials, I think the difference in a poor official and a great official is they officiate the same no matter where they're at. I don't really care about the calls that they make as long as they're consistent, whether they're at your gym or someone else's gym. But referees are human just like everybody else, and we respond to positive reinforcement. So when the crowd goes, yeah. You know, when I blow the whistle, I blow it more. If I blow the whistle and the crowd goes, F you, I don't blow it as much. That's human nature.
All right, I got a question for you, NBA related. Right now, is Dyson Daniels the best Australian player in the world?
Ooh, that's a good call. He's playing the best basketball probably of any Australian right now.
Yeah.
So I'm really pleased with what he's doing in the league, and just it's fun to watch. And it's that basketball that we grew up on. I mean, he's out there getting deflections and he's getting steals. I think he's leading the league in steal. He's leading the league in deflections. Defensive percentage, he's doing a great job, and it's just fun to watch. And he's also putting some points on the board. He's averaging 14 a game. Yeah. So he's scoring some points. I wonder if him going to Atlanta had, in the Atlanta connection with Australian, had anything to do with him feeling better.
I don't know. I like the fact that he's picking up nicknames now. The Great Barrier Thief is one of them. Blockadole Dundee is another one. And I think when you get to that stage, you're definitely making an impact. People have noticed you. So I just think he's going really well. Let's just have a look at his latest game here. A couple of highlights.
Dyson hustles to get back. They run him off a couple of screens. And Dyson Daniels blocks the shot. Quickly ahead to Trey. He gets into the paint. He puts it up and in. Two defenders right there couldn't stop him. Great block by Daniels.
That's another heat check for him. Oh, man, he has been shooting the ball well.
Nice find by Garrison. Hits the breaking Dyson Daniels for the lay-in. Here's Matthews. Dyson Daniels for three. That's good. Ricochet. Daniels diving into the lane.
Oh, Daniels, man, he just finds a way.
Bounce inside, Garrison up, off. Capella got a hand on it. McLaughlin has it for the Kings. In transition, Daniels, what a move. Oh, and Dyson got back to block the shot. Rebound to Sacramento.
They gotta go.
Kings are down 1, 6 seconds, 5. Fox gets in. Fox trying to win it. Take it away. Daniels got the steal, and the Hawks have won the game. Daniels with the steal, and Aaron Smith is looking right at it. He was.
Geez, you got to like that. You really have to like that.
Look, he's in the league, and he's probably the NBA prototype right now. 6'6", 6'7", really, really long arms, really long legs. They seem to go for that type of player, a lot like Terrence Ferguson was built.
Yep.
But just his reach and his enthusiasm to play D is the reason why he's out there getting the deflections and doing what he should. But he's playing some great basketball, and he's going to continue to play.
Yeah, I think he's taken over the limelight from Josh Giddey. Let's see what Josh has been doing lately.
The hesitation, the cross, the spin, deep in the back, blocked by Vucevic.
Good job by Vucevic, come over to help out.
Now Giddey gets past Holland and dunks it home!
Giddey!
And we've got a little bit of footage from the forgotten man a little bit, Josh Green. He's been playing quite well for the Charlotte Hornets. Let's check him out.
Here comes Brandon. He's got Green with him. Okay, first bucket of the game for the Hornets. It is Josh Green. Second game in a row. He's had the Hornets' first bucket. Good. Into the corner, Green. Hangs and hits.
Seeing him make that play several times this year, get a pass in the corner, attack the rim.
Meachit hits the rolling Grant Williams. Green, three-pointer for Josh.
Nice play right there. He called it. Grant rolled right down the seam, drew the defense.
And the Hornets somehow are only down by 12. Could have been a lot worse.
No doubt. Absolutely. You're right there.
That was a pass, I think. Green, clean air.
Woohoo! About Guy Roofing, raise the roof. Let's get it done. Cock it back and throw it in 10. Still out of bounce in those 24-year-old legs.
We're back, and we're talking Australia playing Thailand. That's a massive one. That's the world will stop to look at that.
That's going to be a tough game.
That's tonight, 10:30 p.m. And then Sunday they play South Korea in
another tough one.
Yeah, well, a couple of big ones there. Let's get your tips.
Well, I'm not going to go with South Korea or Taiwan. All right, let's say that.
Okay. A couple of changes to the lineup. Jacob Furphy's come in, and Josh Bannon's come in. Jack White's gone out with injury, and Nathan Sobey's gone out also, probably load management or something. It's this is a chance for Rocco Zikarsky to do something as well. They've still got the wise old heads like Nick Kay and Chris Goulding and Mitch Norton. They've got those sort of guys there. But some of these young guys, I'm interested to see how they travel.
Well, I think for me, if you're a young guy going into this is you're not even competing against the teams you're playing against. You're competing against the guys in the team to be visible enough to go to that next level. So you're just showing the Australian basketball community, this is who I am. And this is what I can do amongst other superstars, with the hopes of trying to make the national team.
How good would it be to see Chris Goulding on one wing and Dejan Vasiljevic on the other, both go off?
And they're capable of doing that because the shots that they hit, they're not really using anybody else to hit those shots. They're some of the toughest shots in the game.
I've heard Thailand's got some pretty good defensive strategies in place. I think it involves eating and drinking a lot of the water beforehand. All right, that's it for us this week. We'll see you again next week.